right. Good night.
Okay. All right. We are here tonight with you, and I want to thank everybody who helps me do this. I want to thank Jose specifically for just helping me out tonight and helping us with our YouTube and just doing a phenomenal job. Now, tonight, I'm just going to share with you, we are having a communication series that we've started a couple weeks ago. We started it in October, and then we had a break for our prayer and communion service. And so this is our second part of our communication series, Communicating During Conflict. And so let me switch this off for a second, because I don't want to see no ads. There we go. My nice cup of coffee on there for you in the background. But tonight I want to talk to us about communication. And one of the things that is really important is we basically have been talking about, tonight we're going to be talking about communication during conflict. And we basically know, and I've shared on this before, and I first of all want to say I highly, 100% recommend Danny Silk. You can check him out on YouTube, Danny Silk, and he has a show called The Kylo Show. He also has many teachings on YouTube, and he is a pastor from Bethel, Redding, and it's a powerful ministry. And I just love 100% his teaching. It's been a great blessing to me in my life, and my family, my home. And it's been a great blessing to the Solid Rock church family. So I recommend him highly. And then I also recommend another lady. Her name is another person, and she's a lady. Her name is Dr. Caroline Leaf. Dr. Caroline Leaf. And she has a podcast called Detox Your Brain, or a Detox Your Mind. I'm telling you, you're going to love her. So this is good stuff. Now, one of the things we learn is that building relationships is the key in life. It really is. And I was meeting with someone tonight. One of the things I told them that was most important to me above anything is to build a strong relationship with those that I love and those that God has placed in my life. And in anything in life, we grow through relationships. And Jesus, he reminded us when he said, the greatest commandment in the new covenant, he said, a new commandment that I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you. It was all about loving one another, about building those relationships. As Jesus has loved us, he said, I want you to love one another as I have loved you. That is our commandment. And in the new covenant, there's only one commandment. Jesus gave it to them when he was at the table with them. He introduced the new cup, and he said, this is the new covenant in my blood. And he said, I want you to drink it. And then he said, take, eat, this is my body. And he at that meal, that covenant meal, he introduced to them the new covenant, and he told them, my commandment, my new commandment is this, that you love one another as I have loved you. So that's why loving one another, building relationships, growing in relationships is how we truly understand and grow in life. And without relationships, what do we really have anyways? We really have nothing. So I want to encourage you to grow in your relationships with those around you and with your people you work with and whatever. So I want to talk to you tonight about basically being assertive in conversation. And there's four basic kinds of conversation. There's aggressive conversation, where we're just aggressive, dominating. It could be screaming, hollering at someone. Then there's passive conversation, where we just simply, yes, we agree with everything. We don't have an opinion. We don't have any voice. We just, yes, whatever you want. la la la. It's just passive. I'm no good. I'm not worthy. I'm the victim. I'll sacrifice myself. Whatever. That's passive. That is that is not healthy conversation. Then we have passive aggressive. I'll bite your head off one thing, and next thing you know, I'll crawl in the corner and hide. And then we have the correct communication, which is assertive. And assertive conversation is basically it's being kind to yourself and understanding that you have a voice, and that in assertive conversations, our voices need to be heard. And that means that we have somebody who is talking and we have someone who is listening, especially when we're dealing with conflict. We must choose who's going to be the one talking and who's going to be the one listening. And then we take turns. Then we allow the other person to talk and we listen. Now, in assertive conversation, this is what we see. And these are some things that I believe are core principles or beliefs that can help us to be assertive. And we can believe them, and they will help us to be kind to ourselves and to be kind to others. And that's important. If you're not kind to yourself, nobody else will be kind. If you don't love yourself, the reason why should you love yourself? Because you are loved and you deserve respect and honor. You deserve to be loved because God loved you so much that he gave his only begotten son. So we see here in these core beliefs is I am allowed to feel my feelings. That means you need to realize that you're allowed to feel them, that you have feelings, that you are allowed to feel those feelings. That is so important. You just can't, well, I don't feel anything. I don't have feelings. That is not going to help us. That is not going to help you. I'm allowed to respectfully express my opinions and beliefs if I want to. Boy, is that a big one today. I'm allowed to respectfully express my opinions and beliefs if I want to. I am allowed to respectfully. That means not attack the other person, not call them names, because when we do that, we put them in the defensive mode, and we're trying to relieve the anxiety and the tension and make that connection and build the relationship and the value and the love that we feel for the other person. And to get that connection back, that is so important. We want to make that connection. So we respectfully express. Now, the way I talk about that is as if, for example, I'm driving down the road and I'm going really, really fast, and I'm driving really fast. And then my wife says to me, the way that you're driving is making me feel afraid and unprotected. Would you please slow down? Now, she didn't say you crazy idiot driver, what are you doing? No, she just expressed to me, now I have to respect and honor her feelings and the way that she is feeling, because I am making her feel unprotected and afraid. And that's not what I want to do. I want her to feel protected. I want her to feel safe. That's what causes extreme anxiety. That's why I'm very thankful for GPS, God's protection system. But that's what we need to have. And we need to understand how to express our feelings respectfully and our opinions and beliefs if we want to. I have the right to be listened to. I have the right to be listened to. You have the right to be listened to. Now, this has a lot to do with the kind of relationship we are in with someone. Now, I'm in a very close relationship with my wife, so she has a right to be listened to by me because I am in a strong relationship with. Now, when somebody comes off the street, some stranger, I don't necessarily When I don't have a connection with him. I don't know him. My relationship with that stranger is extremely small, fragile. It's not even, there's nothing been built yet. So that means that I don't really have to listen to them as far as building a connection, or you understand what I'm saying. It's about beliefs and the kind of relationships we have. Some relationships we have are like bridges, and it's like a bridge you see in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it has ropes and it has a few little boards, and you got to walk across a huge waterfall or cliff, and you're afraid you're going to fall. It's very fragile. That's the way some relationships are. You can't hardly get anything across that bridge. And then there's relationships where they're built like a bridge, like the George Washington Bridge. You can move a tank across that bridge. That's a strong relationship. That's where you can really listen, and you can be listened to. That's a strong relationship. Okay, the next point is my thoughts and feelings matter, even if you don't agree with them. Now remember, the whole point of this conversation is not necessarily to agree with the other person or to try to get them to agree with you, but that my thoughts and feelings matter even if you don't agree with them. And that's important in our conversation, especially if we're having conflict. This is a great point, is that our goal is to, first of all, get understanding and to make that reconnection. We may not agree, but we want to get an understanding. That's our goal. And to make that connection again, to reconnect. Those are big things. So that's why our thoughts and feelings matter, even if we don't agree. If someone don't, I still have the right to express my thoughts and feelings. I'm allowed to change my mind. This is important in being assertive. In an assertive conversation, I have a right, I'm allowed to change my mind, and so are you. We can change our mind. We can change the way we think about something. All right? I am allowed to say that I don't understand. I am allowed to say, I don't understand you. I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand your behavior. These are good statements, but these are correct statements, assertive statements. I am allowed to make mistakes, and I can learn to own them when they happen. Boy, that's a big one. I am allowed to make mistakes, but I can learn to own them when they happen. That means I take responsibility for my mistakes. Oh, man, that's big. I am allowed to make mistakes, and I can learn to own them when they happen. Not deflect them, not blame someone else, but take responsibility for my mistakes. Own them. I did it. I made the mistake, and I own it. I'm not going to pass the buck like Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden. Adam said it was his wife's fault. And then the wife said it was the serpent's fault. See, each one was blaming instead of taking personal responsibility. That's where we get into passivity, and where it brings about no positive results, no connection, but it brings further disconnection. I can choose to say yes and no for myself. I can choose to say yes and no for myself. That's being assertive. That's the correct way. I can say yes and I can say no. I have a right to do that. I can choose my own priorities. Now that's important. Priorities are a key in our lives. And they're a key in helping us to make decisions and good choices, and also to set what we call healthy boundaries. And that's a whole nother subject. We talked about that a couple weeks ago in our communication series about setting healthy boundaries. But I can choose to set my own priorities. And in my life, I have certain priorities, and that helps me to make decisions about my time. What am I doing with my time? It helps me to make decisions about, okay, if someone tries to come into my life, I have priorities that helps me to know, can I spend that amount of time with that person? Or are they going to interfere with the priorities that I've set in my life and with the boundaries that I've set to guard and protect the connections I already have? So I can choose my own priorities, and so can you. I can set my own boundaries according to what feels comfortable for me now. They may change, but I can set my own boundaries according to what feels comfortable for me. For me, you see, that's assertiveness. These are the boundaries that I've set, and I'm comfortable with these right now. So when we're talking to someone, these are certain things, and these are boundaries that I've set in my life to guard and protect the things and the values and the priorities that I already have. I can choose to behave in a manner that I respect and that respects the rights of others. I have the power to behave in a manner that I respect and that respects the right of others. That's why when you're in a heated conversation, when it starts to get into name calling, screaming, hollering, cussing, it's time to say, it's time to walk away. Because what's happening at that time is that it's not going to bring about any healthy results, and you've lost the respect. And there's no respect going on. It's time to walk away. And you don't want to give your power away. And I was talking with a great friend of mine about that, how that he learned so much from that, because he would get in conversations with younger people in his life, and they would start to get into his face and try to get him to get angry and lose his self-control. So he just simply said, I'm not going to enter into that with you, and walk away. The conversation's over, because it's becoming disrespectful. So I can choose to behave in a manner that I respect and that respects the rights of others. I am allowed to walk away from situations and people that harm my well-being. I am allowed to walk away from situations and people that harm my well-being. That is so important, to walk away. You have power. You can be assertive. Don't put yourself in situations that are harming you and hurting you. Walk away from it. Remove yourself from that. Why? Because God has made you to be powerful and not to be a victim. Assertiveness, like kindness, is an innate capacity that you need to develop this ability. And we can be developed in these assertiveness skills in our younger years. This will help us with help and guidance from our parents, teachers, and friends. Some of us haven't had these kind of role models. Therefore, we're not too familiar with these skills. We might not know how to be assertive. We may have learned how to be unassertive, for instance, passive or aggressive or passive aggressive. In order to cope and get our needs met, many people fear that being assertive will come across as unkind. Therefore, they choose to remain passive instead. Unfortunately, this way of being can create great resentment, bitterness, make us unauthentic, and actually contribute to us being unkind. So being assertive, by its very nature, is a form of honesty that's authentic, kind, respectful, and straightforward. If someone is going to be demanding, rude, or unkind, then they're not being assertive. Unfortunately, assertiveness is a skill that can be taught, learned, and mastered at any time in your life. And there are great resources that you can do that. And you can go and look up assertive and find it. Find out assertive communication and skills to develop that and learn that. And believe me, it's an art. It's something to be learned, but it's healthy. Jesus, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, was very assertive in his conversations. He did not back down from the accusers in his life. Jesus simply, when he realized that they were being deceitful, lying, derogatory, he would walk away, or he would not answer them. And he would not allow that until the time came for Jesus to go upon that cross. And Jesus had already knew exactly what was going to happen. And Jesus did that for a season, for a time, to bring about our eternal salvation and the forgiveness of all of our sins, but also to bring healing into our lives spiritually, mentally, and physically, and to bring about a good life, prosperity, and abundance. And that's why one of the greatest things we can learn is to develop good communication skills and to become assertive in our conversations and speak and allow the other person to respectfully share what's on their heart. And I've learned to do this over the years. It's not been easy, but I'm learning and growing in this, and it's helped me tremendously. And I can say it's helped me in my family, in my conversations with my family, my children, my wife, and with those that I love, those that I work with closely, with leadership, and with those in the congregation, and people that I meet in life and begin to develop relationships with. And I can see right away that this is going to be a great conversation, that my communication is growing. And I want to encourage you to develop these skills, especially when your children are young. Teach them how to be assertive, to express themselves without being rude, without being unkind, and learning to be kind to themselves and realizing that their voice has a matter. I think one of the greatest ways to do this is simply by having dinner together. A lot of families don't even do that anymore. But I value that time that I had to sit down at dinner time with my family, with my wife and with my daughters, and we would talk about our day. We would talk about the things that we were going through. We would talk about the good things that happened and even bad things. And sometimes I would specifically ask them, what's some bad things that happened to you? Is there anything bad that happened? And we would get a lot of conversation out of that. But it was teaching us how to express and build conversation and build and share and grow closer together. So I encourage you, practice these skills, practice having relationships, and as a family, try to have dinner time together. If you're married, or if you don't have children, then have dinner time together with your wife or with your husband. If you're, whatever it is, or learn to develop these things and learn them now. And it's never too late. This will greatly help you. I have seen too, where in conversations in the past where I've been very passive and I just didn't express myself and my feelings in the voice. And I learned to do that. And sometimes I wasn't able to do that at the time verbally, but I simply wrote something down and then I gave that and expressed how I was feeling. And I wasn't attacking the other person. I was just expressing how it made me feel. And it caused our relationship to grow abundantly. And so I pray that this has been a blessing to you this short time. Now I'm looking forward to our communication series that we're having on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock p.m. We're having it this Wednesday and then next Wednesday also. I encourage you, if you can, come out for this at the Solid Rock Family Church, 1 Kenwood Avenue, Glenmont, New York. And join us in Solid Rock Family. I hope that you can join us tonight in person. God bless you. Don't forget, Sunday morning, we're live, 10:30 a.m. You can go to solidrockfamily.net. We'll be on YouTube. We'll also be on Facebook Live. And you can join us that way, or you can come. And I encourage you to get out in person and join us. Show yourself. Come around. And like Paul said in the scriptures, I want to see you face to face. There's something about being together with other people, especially now with all this technology that we have. There's something about seeing someone in person. It's special. It's different. And it means so much more to me now than it has ever before in my life. So I encourage you, get out, get into the Solid Rock family. If you don't go to church, get together with other people and build relationships and grow and be healthy for God. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great evening. Goodbye.